Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Annette. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, as you can see, I'm a little bit more casual today. Today is a downtime day for me, and I am creating 3 bracelets for you guys. If this is your first time tuning into my channel, thank you so much for doing that and welcome. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do so, and do not forget to hit that ring bell beside the subscribe button. It will notify you of future videos. And the reason I have to say that, you guys, and I want to explain this because a lot of people have put on the comments, why do you keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again? If you don't know, YouTube used to have a system where once a subscriber would hit that subscribe button, every time I would upload a video, it would notify you via email that, this person has uploaded a new video. With the change of the algorithm that YouTube has created, unless you hit that notification bell, it will never notify you that you are getting new videos from a YouTuber. So that is why I am still reiterating in my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, but please do not forget to hit that notification bell, because otherwise, seriously, you guys, you will never get an email from me saying, hey, Annette has uploaded a new video for you from the jewelry making series, so don't miss out. I can't do that unless you hit that notification bell. It's like the approval from you for me to send you an email. Sounds crazy, but that's how YouTube works now. So thank you so much for doing that. Now, let's get into the video. Okay, let's begin with the first bracelet, and these are the things you are going to need. You're going to need your tools, and I should be showing a picture of the tools you're going to need. We're going to need a toggle clasp, which looks just like this. We're going to need 2 crimp beads, 4 spacer beads, and 2 flower spacer beads, or your beads of choice. And then your beads of choice, obviously. I chose some flat discs, and these are glass, a ruler, and your beading wire, which I am using a 0.18 inch or 0.46 millimeters. Okay, and these you can find Michael, Hobby Lobby, online, anywhere. So let me move this aside. The first thing you're going to need is to use your ruler. So the ruler is to measure your string, your string, your beading wire. And my wrist is a 7.5, like 7.5. When I say 7.5, is from here all the way around to here. It's a 7.5. And if I want to create a bracelet 7.5 to fit me just around my wrist and not looser than that, then I am going to need at least 9 inches of wire. Why? Because I want a little bit of an excess wire at the end so I can pull and make the bracelet as comfortable as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure that wire, and I'm going to cut 9 inches. And if you don't feel comfortable with 9 inches, you can cut 10 inches or how many ever inches that you're comfortable with. So when you create a bracelet like this, you have to look at the types of beads you're getting. For example, I'm getting these discs right here, and they take a lot of space, basically ½ an inch of space. So I want to make sure that when I create it, I make a mock of the bracelet that I'm going to do with the beads that I have. So let's start doing that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my clasp right here in at 7.5, because that's where I want it to end. If I want it a little bit longer, then I should, move it to the 8 mark, but I want it just 7.5 because I want a bracelet to be fitting me at the wrist, not too tight, but loose enough that I can just wear it there and it's not dangly, because that's how I want it. So it's your preference, your choice, whatever you're making. So I'm going to do 7.5. I'm going to do 0 over here. Then I want 2 spacer beads at the end, and I want 2 more spacer beads on the other end. And I want to do every 3, I want to put a flower spacer bead. So I have 3 here, and I'm going to do a spacer. I'm going to do 3 more, and I am going to do a spacer, and I'm going to do 3 more here. Okay, So let me move this a little bit closer to this side. And this is how I want this to fit. It's gonna be just like that. Now, if you have round beads, this might be, you might be needing more beads than that. More beads than the 9 that I have here. Obviously, because round beads take less space than this flat disc that I have here, okay? And I have also to take into consideration that when I put these spacers, I want to leave a little bit of wire loop here, so this will sit comfortably and it's not too tight for me to put it around my wrist and secure it. So this is what it looks like, and that's what I want to create. I'm going to remove the ruler, and I'm going to grab the piece of wire that I just cut. The first thing I want to do is I want to put a crimp bead through it. And as you can see, this is not a tubular crimp bead. This is a round bead. And these, I think, are 1 millimeter crimp beads. And then I am going to put through the toggle clasp. And then I am going to take this wire and go through the crimp bead again, and I'm going to hold it right there. And I'm going to pull the crimp up as far as I can without compromising the closure or the clasp. And this is what I mean by it. You don't want to put this crimp all the way up to here because this will have no movement, and I want this to have movement. That way it's comfortable enough for my wrist when I go to put the bracelet on. So I'm going to move that a little bit closer because I still have some space there. And I'm holding both wires, the little tail and the actual wire there. And I'm going to take my flat nose plier and I'm going to crimp right there, just flat, just crimp it, just press it down. And that's all I want. I'm not going to cut this just yet, this excess, because I want these spacer beads to go through it. So I'm going to start stringing my bracelet. There goes one, and here's the other one. There we go. And now from here, you see how that extra piece is there? I'm going to put it through the beads. There we go. And you can hardly see it there at the end, but that excess I'm just going to cut with my wire cutters. And I'm going to start putting my beads through the wire. Okay, now I am ready to put my crimp bead through first and my toggle. And again, I have this excess wire here. I'm going to loop it around and put it through the crimp bead and through the spacer beads. I hope you guys can see that. It's just going through both beads, and I want it to come out the other end, and this is the end I'm going to pull. And I have to make sure that when I pull this wire, I leave enough space again for this to be loose, and I have some room in my bracelet. Some people like it really tight. I don't. I like some movement in my bracelet, and I don't mind if it shows like that 1 millimeter there of wire. I do not mind that. Some people do. I don't mind at all. But you can definitely close that, and then grab your crimp tool or flat nose pliers and crimp that, and there you have it. Now this I'm going to cut. I'm holding to that tail, cutting as close as I can to that bead or that spacer, and there is your bracelet. So this is the first bracelet. Now let's measure this and let's make sure that we have this right. So we have my ruler. We're going all the way to the top over here, and oops, all the way down, and it says it is 7.5 to the dot right there. So this is how it sits on my wrist. You see how it's still loose and it's not tight, but it's not dangling down? That is exactly how I wanted this bracelet to sit, and that's how it's gonna sit on your wrist. You see that? That's exactly how it's gonna sit. It's not gonna bother you when you move, when you put your hand down. It's gonna be really comfortable. Now, if you want this looser or bigger, you can definitely add more beads or more spacers, and there you have it. And it's very easy to remove. I'll just pull this back, go through there, and there is my bracelet. So that's the first bracelet we're creating. You can create this and many other designs with whatever beads you have. Let's move to the next one. Okay, you guys, for our second bracelet, we're going to do a wire bracelet, and I am using these funky beads that I found. They are just regular beads and they're wrapped in just a cord. I thought that was very unique, but you know, you can choose whatever bead you prefer. I'm going to use a hook closure. We're going to use an 18 gauge wire, and this is a sterling silver plated copper wire. It means it's copper wire and it's dipped in sterling silver. And we are going to use our looper tool that you have seen in our previous video, our ruler, and our basic tools. In this case, we're going to use the flat nose pliers tools and the wire cutters. So let's get to it. First thing we're going to do is we are going to measure our wire, and as you know, I'm a 7.5 bracelet, 7.5 inch bracelet, which is what I like. But because we are looping it on both ends, we are going to need at least 9 inches. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create our loop at the end, where this is the loop, that is the hook that's going to go through the loop. So let's get to do that. And we are going to use our looper with the bigger round area. We're going to put our looper through like that. We're going to bend the wire both sides because I want this crossing here. I'm not going to let it go because I am going to actually bend this wire right here around it. How am I going to do that? I'm going to take my flat nose pliers while I have it still there on the looper, and I am bending the wire through, okay, to where I'm creating not only that I did the loop with the looper, but a wrap on the wire. Do you see that? That's how I'm creating that wrap on the wire. And whatever excess I have, I am going to cut it off. I just want 2 loops right there, so I'm going to let this go right now, and I am going to cut that excess. There we go. Now the little pointy part that you have here from the excess of that wire, that's where my flat nose pliers are going to come in, and I want to crimp that in. I hope you guys can see that. All right, so now we're ready to put our beads in, and I have created sections of 4 beads and then a spacer. There's our 8 inches bracelet. So let's close this side. Okay, so I'm going to remove the ruler, and here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our looper, and instead of using the big cylinder, we're going to use the little cylinder. We are going to give ourselves maybe 2 millimeters here, because we want to wrap it at the bottom here, and I want my beads to have some movement. Again, I don't like everything crimped, especially if it's going to go around your wrist. So we're going to give it a little bit of movement there. I'm going to bend the wire all the way through the back, all the way, just like that. And this is what you're going to end up with for now. And so I'm going to put my hook through the wire. There we go. And I still have some space here to create that loop. So because I need something to keep this stable, I'm going to grab my flat nose pliers right there, and then I'm going to twist it with the hand, because this wire is hard, but it's not too hard that you can't do that. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can definitely hold it with your hand and take your flat nose pliers and then just go around it like I'm doing there, and that's it. So I have my 2 loops there, and I then proceed to cut right here, and I'm going to secure that last pin in here. I'm just going to crimp it in there so it doesn't stick out or pinch my clothes or anything like that. And then I'm going to bend this, and this is what it looks like, you guys. There it is. This is my bracelet. This is what it looks like. There you go. There you have it. I have 1 bead that I had left over. If I had 2, believe me, I would do the earrings for it. And that's what it looks like. It's going to be a little bit looser. It's going to sit very comfortable on the hand. It's going to look really pretty. And then all you do is just pull it out from this side, and when you're going to put it on, you just hold it from there and okay, you guys, so for our last video, I am going to use this bead Dremel, which I had shown you before, just to clean some pearls in the in-between. It makes the hole bigger, but it also has this pointy end, which helps me create knots that are very tight in place where I want them. You're going to need 2 spacers, any one of your choice, and beads, any ones of your choice, as long as the hole is big enough to go through this leather cord. And this leather cord that I'm using is 1.5 millimeter, and this is a round leather cord. And your cutters. Now, I'm not going to give you an exact science on how many beads you're going to need, because this part here is definitely as creative as you're going to get. You're going to start creating it, and then you're going to start measuring on your wrist, or however big you want it, and that's how you're going to do it. This is a choice, a preference, however you want to see it. So the first thing we're going to do, I have a yard here, and this might be way too much, but a yard should be perfect for right now. And the first thing I'm going to do is, you see the ends of this cord, I am going to cut it slightly like sideways like that, where I have that pointy end. And why I need to do that is because I want it to go through this particular small bead right there. There we go. And we're going to make a knot here at the end, just an overhand knot. Any knot will be fine. This is just a little design we want at the end. Okay. There's my knot. That's tight enough. I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to create another knot right here. Overhand knot. There we go. The only difference is that this time I'm going to put my Dremel through the knot very close to the bead. You see how I'm touching that bead there? And I'm going to make that knot come all the way down. This is just, the Dremel is just to guide that knot to get to the end, to where I want it, and then you can pull it out and make your knot. That way the knot is closed there at the end. Now from here to my actual bracelet, I'm going to leave about maybe an inch and a half. I'm going to say an inch and a half. Let's see if that's right. Oh, well, that's 2 inches. Well, let's do 2 inches just to be on the safe side. Now I'm going to make a knot, and this is how we're going to do this. We said 2 inches, right? So we are going to do an overhand knot, right? One time. And we're going to do an overhand knot again right there. We're going to loop it again. We're going to do this twice. And the reason is I want that knot to be secured, nothing going through it. So there we go. I want it to be as tight as possible. Okay, and I think that's good enough. And I want to make sure I still have maybe my 2.25 inch. I don't know, maybe 2.5. So I have 2.5 inches, and that's fine. I mean, this is just going to be a design for the actual bracelet. So this could be an inch, 2 inch, however. So after that, we're going to show you how to do a knot on this later on. Okay, so now I get to just get creative and start putting beads here. I'm going to do 2 beads. Let me pick another one. 2 beads all the way down. And I'm going to create another knot here. And again, I'm going to put my Rimmel there right at the base of that bead, because I want this to be right at the end of the bead. I don't want it to be too far away from it. And there you go. There's my first one. And that's exactly what I'm going to keep doing with this bracelet. And it doesn't matter the color, the order, however you want to create it, then that's what you're going to do. These are called crackled glass. I don't know if I told you that. So here we're going to do another knot, and we're going to put our Rimmel right there at the base of that bead. We're going to pull the knot just to make sure it gets to the end right there. I want that knot to be right in there. Okay, so this is as big as my bracelet is going to be, because I don't want it to be too big. And the reason I'm saying that is because this is going to crisscross at the back. I'm going to have a knot here, and I'm going to either let it more loose or tight. So this is good. I'm going to again check that this is 2.5 inches, and there you go, 2.5 inches. And from here to where I'm creating my next knot, it's going to be 2.5 inches. There you go. That's exactly where my knot is going to be. And I'm going to do just a regular knot, and I'm going to use my Rimmel right there. I'm going to hold it, because when I'm pulling this, I want it to be exactly, exactly where it should be. I don't want it too big or too small, but I want it right there. Okay, so there we go. That's my knot. I'm going to check it again. It's 2.5, and that's perfect. That's all I want. Now I'm going to, you see how much you had left over? You didn't need that much. Maybe half a yard is what you really need. I'm going to cut this sideways because I'm bringing this bead in here, and that extra length that I just gave me is just too for me to be able to create that knot. Not for anything else. So there we go. Now we can create a knot here. There we go. And I can definitely cut this. There we go. Now, how am I going to close this bracelet? We're going to cross these two cords right here. We are going to grab another piece of cord, and this one can be maybe, I'm going to measure it for you guys, but this is a 10-inch cord, which we're not going to use the whole thing, but I want extra to show you. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to bend this to where we are creating a loop right there, right? And then we're going to grab both of these together. We're going to put this one just right there at the top. Can you see that? Right at the top. Okay. And you see this little end right here? I'm not going to touch that. But this cord right here is going to start going around the bracelet. And there's one loop, two loops. I'm still holding it there. You see that loop there? I'm still holding it right there. Okay. and I'm going to do one more loop. And now that I have what it seems like 2 loops right here, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it through both of those loops in between what I just did, just right there. I'm still holding it over here, okay? I'm going to pull that all the way through, okay? And now I'm going to let it go and pull both sides together. Tight, tight, tight. Now look how cool this is. You can close it or you can open it, both sides. Okay, so the extra that I have right here, let me move this out of the way so I can show you that. The extra that I have here, I'm just going to cut it. For me, it has no need for glue, so you can cut that, leave 1 millimeter there. Cut the other side. You can leave another millimeter there. And here you guys, here you go. I'm going to open the bracelet to put it on me. Or you can pull both flowers and close the bracelet, okay? Which is what you're going to do to put it on. So I'm going to open it, put my hand through. Okay, and what I usually do is when I have it here, I hold this with one finger and with the other hand I pull. See that? How it pulls? Then you center it, let it go, and there's your bracelet. Okay, you guys, we have finished our 3 bracelets, and this video has been a little bit longer than the previous ones. But it has been worth it because you have learned 3 bracelet techniques, and they're cool. This one is with just beading wire. This one is with actual wire for you to wrap and things like that, and this one is with cord. It's a knotted bracelet, and you learn how to do the knotted closure for your bracelet, that you can expand the bracelet, make it bigger or make it smaller. Isn't that the coolest? Okay, you guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that you've learned something. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you want to see what any of these bracelets being redone on a separate video just on their own, so I can take a little bit more time to explain how everything is done, leave me a comment down below. I'll be more than happy to do that. I hope you enjoy this video, and you guys, until next time, God bless.